Hello, my fellow Americans. Kulinagi here, and I'm here to talk a little bit more about how I plan on implementing my changes into American society, and I'll be putting my opinion in on my fellow candidate Drew Baldwin's statements. I will also be putting a little bit of thought into that as well. So, firstly, talking about me, of course, is we're going to talk about being more environmentally friendly, right? So, how am I going to do that? Now, obviously, we can't just get rid of every single company using fossil fuels. That is just illogical, and that would not cause any. That would be only bad things. It would cause a massive power and production issue. Not good for not good for America, right? So obviously, I have a multiple year implementation for renewable energy sources, such as solar panels, wind turbines, maybe some dams here and there, but not too many because you don't want to back up the rivers. That's not good. That's not good. So this will be over about a 20-year period, I'm assuming. There will also be, we're adding more restrictions on fuel economy in cars, maybe push a bit more for those electric cars. And we'll also be adding a bit more transits and stuff like that, like subways for cities, so there's more people that are able to use public transportation rather than using their own car and would release less carbon footprints. So secondly is guns. As an American, I agree we should own firearms, right? Obviously, man. So, however, we got to put a little bit more regulation into that stuff, if you're what I'm planning on doing is we're going to be doing background checks, right? So, if you are have any past criminal charges that are serious, it would be more for the safety of other people. Like if you get a criminal charge of if you're speeding and you get a ticket, that's not going to stop you from getting a gun, right? Obviously, man, it's going to be those actual criminal cases such as homicide. You're not going to be getting a gun anymore, man, okay? We're also going to be doing mental health checks to make sure that people who actually own the gun are mentally sound and are not insane and won't do anything bad to the country if they own a gun. And the last thing that we're going to have is we're also going to have, you're going to have firearm training and use of a firearm so you actually know how to use it safely and without hurting other people. Yeah. And then third, right, we got our government aid. So obviously we're here so we can help you guys out a little bit with student debt or financial aids. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit out of certain areas of our spending for government stuff, maybe a little bit less in the defense category. Okay, so we're gonna have a certain percentage of your medical bills and stuff like that is gonna be paid off depending on how severe it was, what exactly it is. So let's say you break your arm, we'll probably, depending on what it is, we might cover about half of it. Really help you guys out financially. Another thing that you have to be an American citizen to actually get this treatment. Obviously, we can't be giving it to random people if they just come to the country. That's just not gonna work. And then we'll just help out any students with severe student loans that need to get paid off because we don't need to have a bunch of people in debt. That's just not a good thing. And then lastly is our schooling issue, right? I want all schools to have equal opportunities for kids to learn. So if you're living in the boondocks, right, I want you to be able to take the same classes with the same level of education as kids that are going to be living in Beverly Hills, right? And obviously, the Beverly Hills kids, they're going to get maybe they'll get better teachers or they're going to have more events, but schooling wise, they should all have the same opportunities and same classes that they can all get for every single student. All right, so that's pretty much my main goals. That's what I wanted to talk about. So now I'd like to talk and criticize carefully my fellow candidates' views. So Baldwin's first point, right, is wildlife conservation and protection. She states that she will plant more native plants, avoid harmful chemicals, and dismantle zoo facilities. Now, I do agree that we should plant more native plants. Get rid of invasive species such as honeysuckle because they're really crashing the native environment, right? However, secondly, harmful chemicals, like any chemical can be harmful to us, like to a certain concentration, it's going to be harmful. Like if you release like a bunch of salt and just like leave it out, like it's not technically a chemical, but if you put a bunch of salt out, it's going to kill plants because that's just they can't take in salt, right? And we also have regulations already for harmful chemicals like DDT. We ain't using that no more because it was too harmful. It was causing cancer and killing all the birds. Not good. So we do have stuff in place for harmful chemicals already. And stuff is going to get released here, there, no matter what, pretty much. It's kind of hard to regulate what exactly counts as a harmful chemical, right? For this last thing, for this first point is why would we get rid of zoos, man? We treat they're a great area for not invasive, that's not good, for endangered and threatened species to reproduce and be able to thrive again. Once they get a certain amount of time, we get the numbers up a bit more, we can release them back into the wild, right? I don't it also helps the youth learn more about the environment and other animals of different countries. So I don't know why you would want to get rid of zoos unless you were talking about trying to crusade the zoos over in I don't know, Afghanistan or something like that because they don't treat their animals right. But that's just gonna cause more conflict, man. Our zoos are pretty upkept. I don't see the issue with this with the zoos. But anyways, that's just my opinion. So her second point, she talks about reducing food waste, about having more climate smart agriculture and increasing food supply, sanitization, so world hunger is more solvable. While I agree that we should have less food waste in America, it is simply too difficult to regulate how individuals use their food and if they waste it or not. And also, let's say, big food companies like Dunkin' Donuts, right? They throw out all their donuts at the end of the night. And so you could be saying, well, why aren't they giving those donuts away to people? If you give away free food, then why are people going to buy your food in the first place? If you're just going to, everyone could just wait till you have to throw your food out. And then, bam, they run out of business because everyone's taking the food at the end, and it's just not practical, man. And then lastly, the whole, I do support having more smart agriculture. It's really good for the environment. It helps out a lot. But the whole having more making more food supplies. The issue with that is that we would need more land, which would cause further environmental hindrances with more fertilizer being needed to grow stuff, as well as deforestation, which doesn't really help much. And there's still hunger in America. World hunger is obviously a thing, but so is hunger in America. There's a lot of people that are hungry in America still. So why don't we before we go trying to solve the world's issues, right? How about we figure out what's wrong here first? Maybe make sure everyone here can actually eat without digging through the trash. Before we try and go solve the rest of the world's issues. Alrighty. Her third point is just gun control. I already said what I said about gun control. I support that. That's a great thing. Alright. And her last point is feline TNR, which is basically just spaying and neutering a bunch of stray cats and then releasing them. So firstly, there's not really a stray cat epidemic in America currently. I don't hear anyone saying, oh man, all those stray cats are in the city again. We gotta rile them up. I wish there was a way to control those dang cats. It's just not an issue. But anyways, the cats that are stray, they're wild animals. They can easily survive on their own. there's really not a reason to be like, we need to catch those cats, man. Um, the only benefit of spaying and neutering a bunch of stray cats and then releasing them back is that you're just, like, all you're doing is euthanizing the entire stray cat population. So there's no more stray cats because they're not gonna be able to have babies, and so they're all just gonna die, and there's gonna be no more stray cats in the streets because you euthanized all of them. That doesn't make sense because stray cats, sure, they're stray, but they also get rid of like pests like mice and other rodents that are in city streets. So I don't know why you'd want to euthanize all the stray cats. That doesn't make sense to me. But you do you, man. And like, if we're gonna have a team to come out and catch a bunch of random cats and spay and neuter them, which already costs money, right? Why would we release them? Like, wouldn't we just want to keep them at like animal shelters so that they could be taken in as pets and loved and cared for? It might. That's just my opinion, though. So I hope, all in all, I hope this was a good overview. I hope it really made my points clear. And I hope you will make an educated decision who to vote for president, everybody. Now, thank you for your time, and remember, coal is the goal.